good evening. Please tell me what's happening and how we stop it.
Well, thankfully, I'm in the state of New South Wales, so it's not happening in my state, but we are watching the crisis of sanity in Queensland above us. Basically, what happened is they trialled a similar version of this law down in Tasmania, and it passed because it's Tasmania. And the craziest part of this law you didn't actually mention, which is that parents don't have to register a gender for their children when they're born, and they can list their mothers and fathers in as whatever they want. So they can have two mothers, two fathers. Basically, our birth certificates are now worthless. They are fictional documents. And so what we've got is a group of women who are quite concerned about basically the future of women's rights in Australia, particularly in Queensland. And so they've been trying to lead a campaign to have this bill taken out. However, the person who put the bill in was the Attorney General, Minister for Justice, Women and Prevention of Domestic and Family Violence. Her name was so long I had to write it down. And she is staying steadfast. She has not learned the lesson from Scotland and the UK. She's going to keep the bill.
But I can understand adults having the right to live their lives as they choose. It is a tricky question. Where do we draw the line in when someone wants to identify in a different way?
The biggest problem is this is a legal document. So this records what you are. It's not an identity statement. It is a record. So if there is no difference anymore between a biological male and a biological female inside Australia law, how can you protect things like women's sport when that is the definition used for competition, and also for access to things like women's domestic violence shelters and all manner of other things? Now, my experience in Australia is I've never seen a woman in a change room or a bathroom complain if a genuine transgender person enters, or even if a dad accompanying his very young child comes in with all apologies. What we have a problem with is when women are placed in danger. For example, if someone in a 6 foot bloke in fishnets walk in, well, then the women are going to circle. And this is what we are seeing now, is this identification taken way too far. So what women are asking for is some level of commitment from the transgender community to show that they really have tried to live as a different gender, rather than self-ID, which is basically whatever your gender you feel like on whatever day. And that does endanger women's rights.
Miriam Cates, MP in the UK, said in Parliament just the other day that there is an innate, not fear, but intimidation between men and women, and that is why single-sex spaces have been created for women. And she was shouted down by a man, a male MP. What is the public opinion about this bill in Australia?
Well, first of all, I'll say that women see most men, the vast majority of men are very good people and they protect women. What we are seeing is a minority of men who are looking to usurp the rights of women and endanger them. So women in Australia, the public opinion is hugely on the side of women's rights. I mean, we spent over a century fighting for equality and for protection in our own spaces. So no, there's no groundswell of support for this bill. The problem is there's no way to stop the bill from going in because of the unique way that the Queensland Parliament's laid out at the moment. We can't stop it. We're not being asked if we would like it. The Queensland government's in charge and they can basically just continue to push this through. So all we have is the power of outrage, and for Labor to feel like perhaps this isn't the best idea. That's all we really have.